On Alaska's news source, multiple landslides come down across Southeast after extreme rain hits the region. I'll show you where there are still concerns for more slides and flooding and how much more rain will move across the state.
Plus, a dangerous save near Seward, how first responders were able to quickly act and save a man pinned under a boulder.
And Alaska's senators return home. What they predict may change with Alaskans' benefits linked to President Donald Trump's, quote, big, beautiful bill.
And conflicting opinions on creating new looks coming to Town Square. We are live with a look at the expected changes.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
Now at 6, we're following up on a landslide in Ketchikan that damaged houses and a car early this morning.
It still has some people on edge. We have team coverage tonight. Olivia Nordyke standing by with more on that landslide and the city's reaction. But we start with Chief Meteorologist Melissa Fry and how the weather is playing into situations like this. Melissa.
Yeah, it has been nearly record-breaking rainfall that we have seen in Ketchikan already, and more is coming. I want to show you, again, this atmospheric river that has just been pounding southeast, especially Ketchikan, with heavy rain since Monday. It has been nonstop. This is a 36-hour loop, and you can see it just continues to hit that area. Zooming out, you can see that long line of moisture extending all the way into the central Pacific. Rainfall totals over the past 48 hours showing more than 6 inches of rain in Ketchikan, more than 2 inches in Petersburg, lesser amounts to the north, but this storm is moving north, and you're also going to see rain increasing heading into tomorrow. There have already been 3 reports of landslides between Ketchikan and Metlakatla, also reports of flooding in multiple locations, including up at Ward Lake, where the water is already more than a foot above minor flood stage. We are hearing from the Ranger District there that the water is already over the road that goes to Signal Creek. We have a downed tree in that area, and then campsites already are being inundated again as the lake level there continues to rise. Now, we are also seeing again a landslide in Metlakatla that is closing the road as it's across the roadway there with mud and water flowing on Waldron Point Road as heavy rain has been occurring since early this morning, and it's going to keep going tonight into tomorrow. Look at these rainfall rates heading through Thursday and Friday. Another 1 to 3 inches of rain is on the way near Ketchikan, more than 2 inches in Petersburg, and that heavy rain also moving into Juneau. So the landslide risk, it is high because that heavy rain continues and the ground is already saturated. It's really important that you stay on high alert in this area. Watch for any new water or cracks, especially if you see muddy water running down the hillside. Watch for porches, doors, or fences that are starting to shift, and then also listen for trees cracking or any boulders moving. Again, that is if you are living or recreating below one of those steep slopes that is already saturated. I'll have a closer look on your extended forecast and how much more rain we'll see here in a few minutes.
Thank you, Melissa. And luckily, no one was hurt in the landslide, but there was an early morning evacuation.
Olivia Nordyke was able to talk to city leaders today. Olivia, what did they have to say about all this?
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. John, the landslide we saw this morning happened amid strong winds and heavy rain, causing damage to one home and undermining the driveway of another home nearby. You can see the mud cutting under a portion of the driveway and the trees and debris sliding into this home. City officials tell us everyone was evacuated safely from the area just north of the Tongass Highway. There was also another small slide nearby, spreading debris across the road. When I spoke with Ketchikan Fire Chief Rick Hines earlier today, he told me he thinks there's a good chance there will be more landslides based on the weather they're expecting, and says those in the area need to remain aware of conditions around them.
So just exercise caution, pay attention to your surroundings, and if you have doubt, don't drive into the water. Don't put yourself in a position that could cause harm to you or one of your family members.
We have been in contact with one homeowner who was impacted by the landslide. We're working to learn more about how they're dealing with the damages. We'll keep you informed with the latest.
A Seward couple who had planned a nice, quiet hike in town on Saturday had no idea what was in store for that day.
A scary situation for Kel Morris and his wife, Joanna Roop, when a 700-pound boulder landed on Morris as they navigated some rocky terrain along 4th of July Creek.
As it went down, and then it's a blur. I don't know what happened. I was tumbling, and I landed in the water. I could hear the large, that noise that large rocks make as they're rolling over each other. I landed up face down in the river, and then I felt the rock hit me in the back and pinned me down.
Wow. Check out this incredible video of the rescue. 61-year-old Morris said he accidentally triggered the rock slide while trying to find a river crossing near the Godwin Glacier moraine. He was pinned face down in the creek by the massive boulder. He and Roop tried to self-rescue, but had to call authorities as the situation became more dire.
Now, a passing helicopter tour crew was first to get to that site as Seward emergency responders were initially having trouble navigating the terrain to try and get to Morris. The helicopter ended up bringing a half-dozen other first responders to the site to free Morris before he was taken by Air National Guard pararescue jumpers to the airport and then to the hospital.
Morris was hospitalized for a couple of days, but is doing well and is already planning his next hike. But he says he plans to stay on the trails. You can read that full story on our website.
And tonight, both Alaska Senators Murkowski and Sullivan back at home. Military updates are on their agendas. Senator Murkowski is in the interior.
And the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff was in Anchorage with Senator Dan Sullivan. The senator spoke with our investigative reporter, Johnson Kuhn.
That's right. The last time many of us saw the senator, he was in the Oval Office as the president rolled out the proposed missile defense system he's calling the Golden Dome. That funding is included in what the administration calls One Big Beautiful Bill. After his visit on J-Bear with the new Joint Chiefs chair, the senator stressed his view spending on the Alaska military and Alaska economy, like missile defense and resource development, means overall he supports the president's bill. But he also acknowledged concerns about parts of the House version, including cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP benefits. He hopes the Senate Republicans will work to address.
It just passed the House by a couple vote margin. The speaker came over to meet with a bunch of senators last week. He said, hey, this is going to be tight. We really don't want you senators to change it much. I think we're going to change it some. There's no doubt about it. But to me, as I mentioned, it's got a big, important defense component.
The senator's also scheduled to visit the North Slope next week with both the Trump administration's Interior and Energy secretaries and the EPA administrator. The senator says he plans to speak about the president's executive order. Johnson Kuhn, Alaska's news source.
Now, in Fairbanks, the president's so-called Big Beautiful Bill was also on some of Senator Murkowski's constituents' minds.
The senator telling reporters after speaking at a luncheon that she has some concerns with the version of the bill that the House passed. She says that includes potential impacts on SNAP benefits and Alaskans who rely on Medicaid, which she says covers about 40% of those under 18. The Alaska cuts, in her view, would be considerable.
I am still concerned that you've got some provisions in the House bill that will effectively shift some of the cost from Medicaid to the states. If that happens, and you all were just covering our legislature, you know how hard it was to even get small incremental funding for the BSA for education. You tell me where the state is going to find the ability to pick up hundreds of millions of dollars potentially of Medicaid costs. And so if the state can't pick them up, what then happens? Individuals are pushed off Medicaid. And then you have vulnerable people who are harmed.
During her interior visit, the senator says she also will receive a missile defense update, and that's where our coverage continues on our webpage and mobile app.
And just into the newsroom, Alaska state troopers have found the remains of 3 bodies in a boat on the bottom of Kachemak Bay.
This comes nearly 10 months after a Texas family went missing in those same waters. The boat was found about 16 miles west of the Homer Spit. The bodies were recovered this week and have been sent to the state medical examiner's office to be identified. It's still not 100% clear if the bodies are indeed those of the missing family.
And experts monitoring Mount Spur say the likelihood it will erupt continues to decline. They say that magma activity has seemingly stalled for now, which decreases eruption chances. However, the volcano is still at an elevated state of unrest. If it does erupt, it could be similar to what happened in 1953 and 1992. We, of course, will continue to bring you updates as they come in. Anchorage's Town Square Park is getting a new look, but not everyone is on board. Georgina Fernandez joins us live downtown to show us the updates and what we can expect.
Well, Rebecca, as you can see behind me, those steps that were once all colorfully painted are now all painted over.
We needed to do a cleanup of the space and make sure we brought it back to its original condition, which was intended to be a blank canvas with flowers and trees. So that's the move that we're making right now.
That's phase one, an initial cleanup of Town Square Park, which also included, the muni said, removing trees to open sight lines. The city plans to put security cameras near the park starting in early fall. Also, next year, the city says it'll be using funding from a bond for more remodeling, including removing some of the park hills.
Those have long been a question of whether the hills are inviting and protective or whether they actually decrease sight lines and accessibility to the park. So part of the plan that's in progress right now for the improvements in 2026 is going to involve some leveling of the park.
However, not everyone is on board, including Richard Ziegler, who painted what he calls murals in the park.
As you see, they're getting ready to take down the fence. They're going to open it back up, and people come down and see the damage that they've done to your community, come down and see what they wiped out the color of this community, come down and see there is no more color. They're taking it down after they sterilized the whole damn thing. And try to push the homeless and the native people out of here.
Now the muni says this is all an attempt to make the park safer. And regarding those paintings, the muni says they were initially done without a muni approval, but then Parks and Recs did allow it to continue. Rebecca, John.
May is the annual May No Child Go Hungry Drive, a partnership between our Fairbanks stations, KTVF, KXDF, and KFXF, to benefit everyone served by the Fairbanks Food Bank. 40% of the people helped by the food bank are children. Learn about the campaign by using the QR code on your screen.
And still ahead, warmer weather bringing out more than just the outdoor enthusiasts.
We take you inside the gates with a look at animals in action at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
There are porcupines, bald eagles, bears, so many animals.
That's a lot of animals, Rebecca. This week, Quinn White is going to take us inside the gates on a little safari at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson.
My dad works out here on base, and he is always sending me and my siblings videos of different kinds of critters he sees. Now, just a few weeks ago, he saw his first bear of the season. Check it out.
First bear of the year. Woo!
Sights like these aren't uncommon.
Bears are probably the most intelligent animal I've ever dealt with.
I spent a few hours riding alongside conservation law enforcement officers to learn more about how humans coexist with Jay Bear's wildlife.
For us, the biggest problem is usually the moose and the bears. We've got bears that have figured out how to open car doors and open doors to get into housing. I think they watch us and figure it out whatever we're doing. We've had them actually stick their paws in and open the bear-resistant dumpsters and go right in.
Oh, he's cute. But bears aren't the only critter you might spot on base. There's nearly 40 species of mammals living inside the gates. I was lucky enough to spot a porcupine, visit a big old beaver dam, and go on an eagle rescue mission. Newsflash, he's fine.
You never know. Every day's different.
A uniquely Jay Bear safari.
Yep, looks like he took off already.
Quinn White, Alaska's news source.
All right, two F-16 jets that had to make an emergency landing on St. Paul Island have finally taken back off after repairs. Feel the power. That was them taking off today. They have been there since last week. One plane had an engine malfunction, and they both had to land as a precaution. Air Force officials say that the jets were initially flying from Kunsan Air Force Base to Eielson Air Force Base in Fairbanks for exercises.
We will be right back.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's News Source app.